This lesson is about defensive tools. So defensive tools are kind of a hallmark of practicing good prevention. A defensive tool is something that you actually purchase with the intent of being proactive, carrying it on your person, and practicing enough that you're pretty skilled with it. So if the need arises, you can use it. Um, there are a lot of defensive tools out there. I used to cover a lot in this class, but I would cover stuff that I thought wasn't that good, and I would kind of give a scale of the best all the way down to the not so good. And I think I've started doing that makes more sense to me is just focusing on the defensive tools that I think are the best. Now, you get a dozen people that teach martial arts and self-defense in a room, and they're all going to have something different to say about what they think would be best. I just think from a practical standpoint, these are best. They have kind of a track record, and so let's just talk about them. So the first thing I want to talk about are impact weapons, and the main impact weapons that we want to discuss are flashlights. So basically two kinds of defensive flashlights. This is old school. This is a mag light, and in the state of California, it is illegal to possess a baton. Can't carry one, obviously, if you can't possess it. So a baton is out, and a baton is a really good defensive weapon. However, mag lights are legal. You can buy them down at Walmart or Target, and you can get different sizes. This is a pretty good size one, and it's pretty heavy. It's got 4 D-cell batteries. You can get some that are slimmer that have 4 C-cell batteries. These used to be standard with law enforcement. They're not used so much anymore, simply because they are so bulky to carry. But a good idea would be keeping one of these in some place that's accessible, maybe in your car. They're not nearly as bright as tactical lights, but they're bright enough. I mean, they're flashlights. Probably brighter than the $3.49 flashlight that you could buy at the drugstore. But the main thing is they're good for striking, and we'll look at that in just a minute. This is a tactical light. Tactical lights are very small. They're extremely bright. However, there's a zillion of them out there. If you look on Amazon under tactical lights, you'll be overwhelmed at the number there are. This one, as I recall, a long time ago, was fairly costly. And when I got it, I was really disappointed at how it just really wasn't that bright. So you want to make sure that you're getting one that's sufficiently bright, maybe 800 to 1,000 or more lumens. I like rechargeable ones. This one is not rechargeable. It just makes it so it's a lot cheaper in the long run. And if you want to get a really good one, plan on spending, I don't know, $50 or more. But you can certainly get some decent ones for a lot less than that. Most of them, you may not be able to see that, but they look like a castle turret on the top. And that shape helps give them some impact qualities. When you hit somebody with this, it's just going to cut them open. It's going to flay them, is what it's going to do. And that's a really good thing as far as self-defense goes. They're also, again, they're very bright, so if you're carrying one in a purse or in a pocket, if you're somewhere where it's dark, it's nice to have one to shine around. We'll see where you're going. If somebody comes up to you, you can flash that light right in their eyes, and I guarantee you, if you have a decent one, it blinds people temporarily. They can't see a thing, which gives you a chance to either strike and get out of there, or just simply get out of there. Some of them have features that you don't really need. This one, when it worked, had a laser, which, as far as I'm concerned, was only good for playing with your cat. But a lot of them will. A real important thing is to have one that has a switch either here or at the back, and you can switch it on and switch it off, because that's what you want to do. You want to switch it on and then switch it off, maybe switch it on again. Some of them you switch them on, switch it off, switch it on, and it'll pulse. So it kind of depends on what you want. My preference would be to have one that just simply came on and went off. I've got one that I really like. It does have a pulsing light, but if you turn it off soon enough, or turn it off and just let it be for a few seconds and turn it back on, then that pulse doesn't come on. It's just a regular light. So these are good. They fit in your hand. Some of them are a little bit longer, but they're good for striking. Boom, boom, boom. Again, always vulnerable areas: neck, temple, nose, side of the face, down on the collarbone. If somebody grabs you coming down on their hand, they're not going to be holding on for very long. So, pretty vicious weapon. Another impact weapon is called a Kubaton, and it was named after the guy that invented it, whose name was Kubaton. And basically it's just either wood, steel, aluminum, or plastic, a little kind of mini baton, and they have a key ring on them. And what's nice about the key ring is there's a couple things. One, if you have your keys on it, you're going to have it in your pocket, you're going to have it with you. Okay, one of the things that happens with defensive tools is a lot of times people don't carry them, or they carry them in a place that's really hard to access. So, like in, deep down inside the purse. So, a good habit always when you're going to your car, for instance, or going from your car to your front door, is to have your keys in your hand for obvious reasons, so you don't have to fiddle with it. So, if you have this in your hand, you've got a couple things. You've got an impact weapon, boom, and you've got a flail. Boom, boom, like that. So the Kubaton is just, there's a lot of stuff you can learn with this. There are videos all over the place. There's locks you can do, but at its basic best, it's just an impact weapon. Come down on the clavicle here, somebody grabs you, come down on their hands, they're not going to hold on. If somebody grabs me around the back, I can dig that in. I can go back and try to strike their groin or strike their thigh. And again, I can flail that in the eyes, boom, and then follow up all kinds of strikes. Okay, so I really like these. I've heard some people say they don't like them. So again, it's kind of just a matter of preference. The other thing is pepper spray. So pepper spray, this is kind of a large one. Most of them are more this size, but you can get different sizes. And it's a derivative of hot peppers, usually mixed with some kind of accelerant. And what it does is it's very effective in, it hits the person, it burns the skin, just get a terrible burning sensation. They inhale it, it makes it hard to breathe. A lot of people gag and start throwing up. Gets in the eyes and it just burns and people can't see, they have to shut their eyes. If they can't get to something to flush it out, the effects may last for a good couple hours. If they can get to something and flush, sometimes it'll take a half an hour to an hour just to get it flushed. So it's good stuff. There's some downsides to it. One of the downsides is it works on about 95% of the population. About 5% for some reason it doesn't work. Maybe that person is so drunk he doesn't feel it. Maybe he's just pain resistant. But there's plenty of people in law enforcement who have used it, and the guy just kept coming. So it doesn't always work, but when it works well. A good instance of that was the 2014 shooting at Seattle Pacific University up in Washington. And a guy came on campus with a shotgun. He killed 2 students. I think he wounded at least 1 or 2 others. And he was reloading, and there's a building monitor named John Meese who had some pepper spray. He ran up to the guy, sprayed him, and it took a couple years for them to release the surveillance footage, but you can see this guy, he gets sprayed in the face, he grabs his face and just crumples, and Meese was able to take the gun away and probably saved a lot of lives. So it's worth carrying. It's fairly cheap. Um, this is a good brand, Sabre. I used to really like Spitfire. Spitfire's been purchased by Sabre, I believe, and I don't know if they make these little canisters anymore. Couple things about pepper spray. There's different kinds of dispersal mechanisms. So one is called fog or cone. It goes out in kind of a conical fashion like that and leaves kind of a fog in the air, so you don't have to be real accurate. You can just spray all over and somebody kind of runs into that. Another kind is stream, and that's my preference. It's kind of like wasp spray, where it's a long thin stream. Aiming, you have to aim a little bit better with that, but generally you aim at center mass, and once you hit that chest you kind of move up into the face, so you're spraying and just move up there. I like it because you can affect somebody at a longer distance with a stream, and also because you can saturate somebody's face a lot more. Couple things: if you're downwind, you spray, you're going to contaminate yourself. If you're inside, if you spray, you're liable to contaminate more than just the person you intend to spray. So there's that about it. Also, once you get it, it's good for about 2 years. It'll have an expiration date on the bottle. You should shake it up at least once a month. Make sure, because there's a little separation that happens with the pepper oil and the accelerant. And I would suggest practicing. Get a good spray for carrying, and then I've seen at Save Mart, for instance, in the checkout line, some pepper spray for $5. Get one of those $5 sprays and get a target outside and practice spraying, and so that at least you know how to do it. All of them have some kind of safety. This one, it flips like that to allow you to press it down. This one has a little flip up, and you get your finger in there or get your thumb in there. One other thing about it, pepper sprays, they're rated in something called Scoville scale units, and it's a relative scale, so to give you an idea, bell pepper is 0. Okay, no heat whatsoever. A jalapeno is about 2,500 to 10,000 Scoville heat units. A serrano is about 5,000 to 23,000. And hottest recorded pepper so far, well, I don't know when this was printed, but back when it was printed, was 577,000 Scoville heat units. So, SHUs they call them. Pepper spray, typically you can get it, the Sabre spray is about 2 million Scoville heat units. And that's the highest you can get in California. They do make 5.6 million, but you can't buy it legally in California. Pepper spray is legal in California, at least for now it is. You don't have to have a permit to use it or get it. You do have to be 18 or over 18. For somebody that's 16 and between 16 and 18, they can get a note from their parents and carry that with them if they carry it. So anyway, those are a couple things about pepper spray. So let's just look briefly. I've got this. Okay, I've got this guy's come up. I happen to have this. I flash this in his face. It's not terribly bright, but it's bright enough. If he's a threat, then from here I can just extend that. Boom. So, okay. With this, I'm not actually going to hit Bob with this because it'll cut my bob here, but I've got the tactical light, and I can flash in his eyes, and if I need to, I can boom, boom, hit like that. It's gonna flay him. It's gonna be nasty. It's probably gonna break some bones too. Again, using it on hands, anybody that's grabbing at you. I can also use it to reinforce my fist. You know, if I'm punching like that, punch, hit like that, boom, boom, boom. Might help keep me from breaking the fist. Kubaton, same thing. We're going to strike, 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 flail, flail. When you use the Kubaton, you can If you're flailing, you can go in a cross motion like that, go straight across, but you can also just go across, and then finish with a strike. So boom, boom, strike. Boom, boom, strike. Or go across 1, 2, and notice how that chambers for that strike. If somebody grabs me, imagine Bob's arms are grabbing around me, I can step out and I can strike, I can use the flail, I can elbow. Don't ever forget that you have a lot of other tools. So one of the things that happens is people focus on what they have here and they forget they have other tools. So if I have pepper spray, for instance, I can spray, and then if I need to, I can push them away. I can kick, boom. I'm going to keep my kicks low, but I put that one high because you can't see very low here. So a tool is something to help you, but you also have other tools available. You know, you could use this, strike here, headbutt, come up here, boom. So a little bit of practice. You could take a piece of doweling and practice on a bag, practice on a tree, but it's a good idea to practice striking, practice, get some pepper spray, practice using the spray, and get familiar with these things. And they're all pretty cheap to buy and to carry, even for a starving student. Okay.